Hello again. You're on Office Hours with the Mad Professor. My name is Liam. Sorry it's been about a week or so since I put anything up, although given how busy I'll be in the coming semester, that's probably going to be about normal. I've been a bit busy lately, both with the end of the previous term and finishing finals, and then there's a massive wildfire right by my house that came actually quite close to it. It was within about a block and a half of my house. So fortunately I have a hill nearby that helped to stop it, and fortunately the firefighters worked really hard to keep it away. So there's been that. I'm still sort of watching it burning up through the mountains near me, but at least it's no longer an immediate danger to the house. So today I want to play you a short clip that I often use in my early world history classes and my ancient Mediterranean classes to get at some of the cultural politics of the late Republican, early Imperial period of Rome. Now, this is a time when there were a lot of great Roman writers sort of trying to extol virtues, to push people to embrace traditional Roman values as against the foreign influences that were an inevitable consequence of Rome's expansion throughout the Mediterranean basin. In particular, Rome came into contact with Greek culture in a very forceful way. There had always been some contact between the Romans and the Greeks because there were Greek speakers all across what is today southern Italy and Sicily. This was Magna Graecia, as the Romans called it. It was a part of the Greek world that was relatively early on absorbed into the Roman world. But it's one thing to absorb a bunch of Greek colonies and begin assimilating those people, and quite another to gain control of the core parts of the highly urbanized, extremely wealthy Greek world with all of its cultural attractions. Now, people often conflate Greek and Roman culture, and there is some argument for referring to Greco-Roman civilization. They did borrow a great deal from each other. They overlapped. Greeks were significant throughout the Roman period, and the Romans learned a lot from the Greeks, but they are not the same people. They do have very considerable cultural differences, and the Romans had a real love-hate relationship with the Greeks. On the one hand, it was common to appreciate Greece's great cultural achievements in drama, in poetry, in philosophy, in the sciences, medicine, but it was quite common also to disparage ordinary Greek culture and Greeks as untrustworthy, mischievous, backstabbing peoples who had some less than savory habits and interests. There were a lot of things that sort of came in for criticism by ordinary Romans, and many more conservative elite Roman writers did exploit this. I'm thinking in particular of people like Virgil, who wrote the Aeneid, an important foundational myth for Rome that consciously tried to separate it out from the Greeks by making Rome's founder symbolically a Trojan, a Trojan, one of the opponents of the Greeks. And people like the historian Livy, who wrote disparagingly of the depravity of the Greek East, and of the great Latin poet Horace, one of the truly greats of Latin literature as it was beginning to come into its own. Early Roman writers tended to write in Greek. And he, too, tended to write about the martial and conservative Roman culture achieving its sort of dominance of the more depraved and sort of fallen Greek civilizations to their east. Now, the clip I'm going to play for you is a scene from the HBO series Rome, and it involves the sister of Octavian, who was then achieving power as a young consul, and the last in a line of military dictators. He would become the first emperor of Rome, and his sister is present at a bacchanalia, which is the Roman version of the Dionysian rites, a kind of religious ceremony that also involved lots of drinking and sex. And present there also are a couple of people who work for Octavian, and one of them will see Octavia present there and intervene. So here's the clip.
Maecenas, I'm going.
What?
I'm going.
Already?
I'm tired.
No. Stay. It gets so much better.
We are seconds to the consul now. We should not be in such places.
Don't be so fucking pious. What's the point of being seconds to the console if we can't have some fun?
What?
Never mind, go if you like.
I can't hear you.
Go if you like.
I'm going.
Are the walls melting? I don't think so. They are, you know. They are melting. We should all die. Octavia?
Have her washed and put to bed as quietly as possible.
Wait.
Good evening, madam. You'll excuse me if I hurry away.
Exactly what are you doing with my daughter in the middle of the night?
He abducted me.
Oh?
I was at a perfectly nice party with Jocasta, and this impudent brute abducted me.
And brought you home to Mother. It's a strange abduction. Where was she?
Octavia, you had best tell her the truth.
Where were you?
I was at an orgy, Mother. It was an orgy.
Early stages of an orgy. The Bacchic rituals had not yet begun.
You stupid, drunken slut.
Really, there's no need for...
It's that bitch Jocasta's fault. She's the one that's led you astray.
So, I was at an orgy. Who cares?
What do you think your brother will do if he finds out?
I pull a hair for what my brother will do.
Oh, really? Whilst he's at the forum preaching piety and virtue to the plebs, you're sucking slave cock at an orgy. How do you think that looks? He'll banish you at the very least.
No, he won't. And I suck no slave cock. I hadn't got to that part.
Banished. Gone. And me with you to some filthy Greek island. Don't you dare say a word to anyone about this.
Never. Of course.
What do you mean, of course? Why wouldn't you run and tell your lord and master?
Now, I hope you saw here not only the tensions within this patrician class and the supporters of Octavian in his rise to power, with the two seconds to the consul sort of tussling over the perks of their position, one arguing that, well, what's the point of being powerful if we can't enjoy the finer things in life, and the other saying, well, this is not what good Romans do, that this actually looks bad, that this is politically problematic. And we can see then also in the fight there at the end when we see Octavia brought home to her mother, Attia sort of freaking out that, oh my god, you were at a bacchanalia, your brother will exile us to save his own political fortunes. He'll have to get rid of us because if this comes out, it will look bad on him. And he'll banish us to some filthy Greek island. Well, what made a Greek island filthy? Not the hygiene, the Greeks, Greek culture. So filthy in the eyes of ordinary Romans. And we can see here that, again, Octavian is specifically trying to make his appeal to ordinary Romans on the basis of his defense of traditional Roman values, good conservative Roman values, as against the depravity of the senatorial class, who were much more likely to be attracted to Greek culture, who sent their children off to study in Greek philosophical academies, to study everything in the East, law, poetry, philosophy. And as a consequence, were more likely to be beholden to these sort of cultural influences. Now, why am I talking about this at all? Well, I want to make a basic parallel between the kind of cultural politics we can see playing out here 2,000 years ago and the same kind of cultural politics that continue to play out here in 21st century America. How many politicians get busted doing, I don't know, drugs, or having gay sex in hotels, or having a mistress and lovers and whatever? I mean, how often does this drag people down? Well, clearly people in power are often attracted to some of the perks of power and privilege, which could be this kind of high-flying lifestyle, jetting off with lobbyists to, Cancun or something here, which might involve drugs, prostitution, gambling, everything else there, and this can bring people down. Think also of the scandals within families. What if the son or daughter of a famous politician is also caught in a kind of compromising situation? This frequently happens. People do have an objection to this sort of thing because it often appears to suggest certain weak morals in the family as a whole, and if it does that, well, it also reflects badly on the politician. This is particularly damaging and leads frequently to resignations when the politician's core appeal, strength with his base, depends upon cultural politics. So, for example, if Barack Obama's daughters were at a party or something, that's not going to cause a humongous stir. It's not going to freak things out if one of his daughters is caught smoking weed or something, because this is not really what Obama was campaigning on. In fact, he was perfectly upfront with admitting that, yeah, when he was young, he also had smoked weed. Granted, I don't see why it's a problem for adults to either, but that's a whole different question. We tend to think that it is. And when politicians base their careers around attacking homosexuality and then are caught with a gay lover, or attacking drug use and supporting the drug war and then are caught snorting cocaine, or supporting traditional marriage and family values and fidelity and are caught having a mistress and paying for her abortions or something, and these happen frequently, especially on the American right, which is much more prone to that kind of cultural politics, it does cause major scandals. But these politics in general have not changed much, and they often have exactly the same purpose. They disguise naked power. If you get people to focus on foreign influences, and you get people to focus on cultural issues, and you get people to care much more about their neighbors' sex lives and drug use and whatever here, or something like that, then you can distract them from the fact that you are robbing them blind. This has always been the case. The kind of scandals that we see today in 21st century America are not new. They are part and parcel of the political process, of politics as a whole, of hierarchy as a whole. Powerful people will break rules, and they will rob you blind. They will steal from you. And if they can distract you with something else, all the better. Whether it be wars or religions or, yes, cultural politics. These kind of culture wars are a scam. Most of the people involved in politics and most of the people actually arguing for these cultural politics do so disingenuously, and they do so extremely dishonestly in many cases. Nakedly dishonestly. Because they are enjoying all of those things they are criticizing. They do it to con you. They do it to distract you from the real issues. And that, as I said, has not really changed. And it's something I think we should pay better attention to. If someone tries to get you to fear something, if someone tries to point to someone else's activities, oh my goodness, this person is doing drugs, this person is having sex, they're doing, oh my god, they're into butt stuff, or they're trying to get you to stop paying attention to actual serious issues in the economy and geopolitics. They're trying to shift attention from themselves and from elites. And we should be suspicious of that. We should be wary of that kind of politics. Alright, so that's my little discussion for today. I'll keep it nice and short. Again, my name is Liam. This is Office Hours with the Mad Professor. If you enjoy these things, remember to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, like this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next time.